Starting tomorrow, some Japanese children can enjoy a new shopping experience at Toys R Us. The discount toy store chain opens its first Asian outlet. Japanese customers are used to shopping at some small family-run toy stores.
Well, they are in for a big surprise. The new store is 5,000 square yards, and it's stocked up to the ceiling with 8,000 different toys. Toys R Us officials say their toys are 30% cheaper than most found in Japan.
That's our report for now. Next news at 11.
Thanks for joining us.
President Bush calls in the captains of industry as the line for jobless benefits grows. Experts blame the economy for a rash of violent crime.
And I was yelling, no.
And after 8 months of shielding her identity, William Kennedy Smith's accuser goes public. This is the CBS Evening News. Good evening. Dan Rather reporting. With criticism building over his handling of the economy, President Bush is now trying to portray his upcoming trip to Asia as a way to get more jobs at home. White House correspondent Susan Spencer reports on jobs, the economy, and the Bush-Quayle re-election campaign.
President Bush talked trade today with corporate bigwigs going on his upcoming Far East trip, all part of a White House push to deflect criticism of yet another foreign trip by turning this one into a sort of all-American job search, with the president leading the charge. The group today agreed that especially with Japan, someone needs to lead.
They got to open up their market. That's obvious. We need access to their market.
It is simply unacceptable to have one of the three major trading regions of the world with a different set of rules.
On the domestic jobs front, more bad news today. First-time unemployment claims last week were just under 500,000, up 79,000 from the week before. Mr. Bush isn't claiming this one trip will immediately cause barriers to fall down and jobs to spring up, but he said today he does think the climate for getting concessions from Japan has improved.
The trip is to break down intransigence where we find it and have freer and fairer trade. And that message I will carry very, very forcefully.
It's hardly a new message. Talks to bring down trade barriers have been droning on since 1989. Some Democrats argue that more talk may not be the answer.
Look, we need to stand tough for American businesses and American workers. And if you don't, you can say jobs, 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 all you want. There won't be any more jobs.
The White House fully expects Democrats to label this trip just another photo op in the old Bush campaign album. But it also thinks that given the country's worries over recession, the president's message of jobs, jobs, jobs will come through anyway. Dan?
Thanks, Susan. Tomorrow's the filing deadline for the New Hampshire presidential primary, and still no decision from Democrat Mario Cuomo about whether he wants in. The governor of New York said today he is close to saying, quote, something reasonably decisive about his plans. Maybe, he says, maybe tomorrow. The U.S. Justice Department announced a plea bargain deal today to settle racketeering charges against BCCI in the world's biggest bank fraud. Law correspondent Rita Braver reports.
The Justice Department amassed a phalanx of law enforcement officials to show broad support for the plea agreement. After months of intergovernmental squabbling, the U.S. finally struck a deal that forces BCCI to forfeit all its U.S. assets.
These assets are currently valued at $550 million. This represents the largest single criminal forfeiture in history.
The money will be split in half, part reserved to shore up two financially troubled U.S. banks once secretly controlled by BCCI. The other half will go to an international fund to help compensate investors and depositors around the world defrauded by BCCI. Still unclear whether there will be any legal action against U.S. citizens who helped BCCI, in particular prominent Washington attorneys Clark Clifford and Robert Altman.
Well, our investigation from here, without getting specific, goes to the individual wrongdoers who either utilized BCCI, fronted for BCCI, or were otherwise involved in criminal activity in their individual capacity.
One frequent critic of the Justice Department's slow pace in pursuing BCCI hailed today's agreement, which also gives the U.S. access to all BCCI records.
It will shed light on some of the other criminal enterprises that haven't yet come to the fore, the arms dealing and other aspects of bribery and so forth.
But privately, U.S. officials say it's unlikely that this country will ever gain custody of the foreign fugitives who masterminded the so-called bank of crooks and criminals. Rita Braver, CBS News at the Justice Department.
In Michigan, new legal trouble for Dr. Jack Kevorkian, the so-called Dr. Death. He is the physician who provided the drugs to help two women with serious illnesses commit suicide last October. A grand jury is now deciding whether to charge Kevorkian with murder. Michigan has no law against doctor-assisted suicide. Across the country, there's been a sharp increase in mass killings that end in suicide, and there's growing evidence that fear about the economy could be a factor. Correspondent Doug Tennell has our report about that.
It is an ongoing national tragedy. Multiple murders have racked communities all across the United States in the last few months, and experts are still trying to understand why. One well-documented factor is the season. Murder rates traditionally climb over the holidays, but criminologists have detected a new and terrifying trend. As the economic recession deepens, more and more disgruntled workers are resorting to violence against their bosses.
The fastest growing kind of homicide in the United States is homicide in the workplace.
The Michigan postal worker who singled out his immediate superiors for revenge after he was laid off this fall is said to be a textbook case. Survivors described the murderer as a temperamental loner, working among others who were desperate to keep their jobs.
So much pressure every day. You know, you have to look over your back every minute to make sure you've got a job.
Some analysts link the recent murder of 5 persons by a student at the University of Iowa to the highly competitive job market. And they warned continuing large-scale layoffs by American industry may contribute to the trend.
It's equivalent to a good part of your family suddenly dying, being gone. And many people just do not have the internal resources to handle it.
I'm not optimistic. In the future, in the 1990s, we'll see more and more cases of middle-aged, disgruntled workers who literally go after the person who's in charge.
Many experts believe little can be done to reduce the risk of violence in the workplace because the kind of traits investigators say are common among mass murderers do not usually appear in an application for a job. Doug Tennell, CBS News, Miami.
And still ahead on tonight's CBS Evening News, Boris Yeltsin consolidates power, shutting down the old Soviet bureaucracy and the poisonous land Soviet soldiers are leaving behind.
A fire starts wherever it chooses, and it really doesn't care who gets in the way. It treats everyone the same. The only real protection is total protection. That's why First Alert offers a complete family of smoke detectors and fire extinguishers, each designed for a critical area of your home. Don't find out too late you were almost protected. Depend on First Alert smoke detectors and fire extinguishers. First Alert, because your family comes first.
I used to take aspirin to relieve minor arthritis pain until my doctor told me 1 Advil is as effective as 2 regular aspirin and is gentler to my stomach. For my pain, I prefer Advil. Advil, advanced medicine for pain.
What does it feel like to slip your feet into a pair of isotoner slippers? Relaxing. Soothing. Isotoner slippers. Doesn't someone you know deserve a pair?
Shock waves continue rolling through Moscow and the rest of the Soviet Union, rocking everything from the Kremlin to Gorbachev to the Soviets' Olympic teams. The latest tonight from Jonathan Sanders in Moscow.
Boris Yeltsin flew off to Italy this morning in presidential style on his own plane, emblazoned with the word Russia. And in a demonstration of presidential power, before he left, Yeltsin eliminated most of what's left of the Soviet government. In a series of decrees, Yeltsin today abolished the huge central bureaucracy, including the Soviet Foreign Ministry. That puts Edward Shevardnadze out of a job. His spokesman, too.
This is only part of a sadness which many people feel who have gotten used to living in a country which was called the Soviet Union.
Only the ministries of defense and atomic energy were left untouched. Yeltsin's Russian government is even claiming for itself the Kremlin, including Mikhail Gorbachev's staff. inside the Kremlin today, an increasingly lonely Gorbachev continued to insist on a formal transfer of power. A lawyer by education, he said tonight, the Supreme Soviet should meet one last time and officially dissolve the Union. But for the Soviet Olympic Committee, it's already over. Today, they showed off the team's new symbol for the upcoming games, replacing the red banner of what used to be the Soviet Union.
It's a pity that I have to use this formula, used to be the Soviet Union. That was my beloved country.
Gorbachev tonight offered his own name for the successor government. Call it the Commonwealth of European and Asiatic States, he said. But it's not clear if anyone listens to the father of perestroika anymore. Jonathan Sanders, CBS News, Moscow.
As the Soviet Union, as we have known it, heads for the scrap heap of history, it's leaving behind a huge pile of waste all over its former territories in Eastern Europe. CBS News correspondent Peter Van Sant has that story from Germany.
It looks like the aftermath of battle, a vast destroyed landscape of twisted metal, downed fighter aircraft, crippled armor, and gutted buildings. This isn't Yugoslavia or Kuwait. It's what was once East Germany. Thousands of tons of discarded equipment, unexploded bombs, and toxic chemical dump sites. That's what the Soviet military is leaving behind as it withdraws home to Russia. Deadly toxins, oil and gasoline are contaminating land and water, creating a health danger which will last generations. They've left a pigsty, this German says. The Russians just don't care.
This area outside Berlin is just a small part of the environmental disaster the Soviets are leaving behind. Thousands of acres of forest were burned and stripped to give tank gunners a clear sight to their target. It will take decades to repair the damage.
Echt?
What is that?
What is das? Blindgänger vom Panzer.
This is a live tank shell, Forest Officer Frank Schroeder says.
Entsorgt hier alles.
Schroeder is surveying the devastation. He's been arrested, threatened by armed soldiers, but is determined to expose what the Soviets have done to his land.
Alles totaler Murks, ja, das alles überhaupt.
How can anyone rape nature like this, he says? Everything is completely ruined. Soviet forces are leaving Germany at the rate of 100,000 a year. By the end of 1994, the last soldier will take the midnight train to Moscow, ending more than 45 years of occupation. As they withdraw, soldiers strip buildings of items in short supply back home, plumbing fixtures, wood paneling. They look through garbage sites, searching for anything of value. The Soviets say they can't afford a cleanup, so they're just walking away, leaving behind mountains of dangerous military debris and a legacy of neglect. Peter Van Sant, CBS News, Potsdam, Germany.
The German government said today it will recognize the breakaway Yugoslav republics of Croatia and Slovenia, possibly by Christmas. Another atrocity has surfaced in the Yugoslav civil war. The bodies of 43 civilians, many of them elderly, were found in a Croatian village. Witnesses say the victims were massacred by retreating Serbian forces. In neighboring Albania, the collapse of communism has left people hungry, cold, and hopeless. A children's hospital in Tirana is overflowing with patients and critically short of food and medicine. Aid has arrived, some of it from Britain, but the institution is still overwhelmed. The economy has practically ground to a halt. Former communists are still in power, but unable to rule as Albania endures the legacy of Stalinism. There's more CBS News straight ahead, including Eye on America. Tonight, children finding the strength to fight cancer.
Norelco says don't shave your legs, baby them. With Norelco's incredibly close, comfortable shave that leaves you baby smooth, baby soft. Norelco Lady Shave Razors, dry or wet, we make close comfortable.
I've got a 6 a.m. flight. I've got to get some Z's.
Nitol safely helps you fall asleep fast so you can get your Z's. Nitol or Maximum Strength Nitol.
Nitol will help you get your Z's.
At Red Lobster, it only happens through Sunday. And it's just $7.99. Introducing a brand new shrimp combination. And wait till you taste it. First, we took a touch of honey and created new honey barbecue shrimp. Then the tang of lemon for new lemon broiled shrimp. 2 new tastes together at a special low price, just $7.99. But this offer ends Sunday, so hurry to Red Lobster. And for holidays at home, party platters to go, ready in just 1 hour.
Take some vegetables and presto salad shooter.
Shoot some slices salad shooter.
Point and shoot right into stir fry or casserole.
Shoot some shredded salad shooter.
For hash browns or coleslaw.
Shoot it fast, shoot it neat, shoot it pretty. Salad shooter.
Presto salad shooter slicer shredder. Clean up easy, dishwasher safe. Small enough to store anywhere. Great salads and much, much more.
Salad shooter.
Original, cordless, rechargeable, and professional salad shooter.
If you think we finished off Saddam Hussein, think again. Another Hussein is keeping him afloat, and this one is supposed to be our friend. 60 Minutes, Sunday.
There is new evidence that AIDS is not spread through casual contact. Researchers who studied 50 AIDS-infected people say they found no sign of the virus in their perspiration or sweat. And federal health officials are launching a new attack on hepatitis B. For the first time, they're recommending that all infants be vaccinated against the virus. Hepatitis B kills 5,000 Americans a year. From around the world now, more CBS News. In Brussels, actress Audrey Hepburn released the annual report from UNICEF on the state of the world's children. She said the end of the Cold War should free billions of dollars to fight illiteracy, hunger, and childhood diseases. In Australia, a lingering recession brought down Prime Minister Bob Hawke. After 8 years in power, the ruling Labour Party dumped him in favor of Paul Keating, a former finance minister. In central Texas, rivers and creeks were swollen by up to 8 inches of rain in 24 hours. Low-lying roads were flooded, and some central Texas motorists had to be rescued. And Japan's version of a hollerin' contest. The prize, $900, provided by a cough drop company.
Do you have a cold?
Yes, I do have a cold.
Here's 2 cold medicines. This relieves these 3 symptoms, this 9. Choose one.
I would use this one.
Why?
That's my cold. The fever, the headaches, the sinus congestion.
Here's what you chose.
I'm totally amazed.
Would you try Dristan Cold?
Absolutely.
How do you feel?
I feel amazingly good.
Dristan Cold relieves 9 tough cold symptoms. Dristan Cold, part of the Dristan family of products. Dristan, the face of relief today.
This is a day I will never forget.
Think about your daydreams and what you would do if you won 10 million out of the blue. Oh my God! Miracles can happen for you. Publishers Clearinghouse, the house where dreams come true.
Does she have to spend so much time drying her hair?
Let's get her this new Conair Euro style. It's got 1,600 watts of hair drying power. It'll get her out of the bathroom faster.
Do I have to wait till Christmas to give it to her?
Look at all the Polaroid film Kmart has. Great price, too. We should stock up for the holidays.
We don't have a Polaroid camera.
I know. I was getting to that.
That was the easiest Christmas shopping ever.
What did you get?
What didn't I get?
From CBS This Morning, happy holidays.
In Eye on America this week, we're looking at the war on cancer, now 20 years old. There have been disappointments and failures, but also progress and promise. Tonight, the area of greatest progress. Edie Magnus reports on treating children in our special series, Cancer, Stalking the Killer.
Another day, another trip to the hospital.
Hi, Jennifer.
Jennifer Haynes has been coming to St. Jude for 2 years now to get treatment for leukemia.
Pain in your arms and your legs anywhere?
The 13-year-old Mississippi girl is now used to the examinations and the chemotherapy. She's come a long way since doctors first told her the news.
They called my mom and I into a room and told us that I had leukemia. We just couldn't handle it. We started crying and everything.
I was wheeling Jennifer to her room,
And the thoughts go through my head like, she's going to die. I don't want to watch her die. And there's a window out there. And I felt like just running the wheelchair and both of us, you know, and kill me, kill her, so it just ended quick, you know, and I wouldn't have to watch her die and watch her waste away.
But Jennifer is lucky. She has a form of leukemia known as ALL, the most common leukemia in children and the most curable.
20 years ago, she had probably a 5 to 10% chance of surviving. Today, she's got probably a 70% chance of surviving this disease.
For reasons doctors don't fully understand, cure rates for children with certain cancers are improving much faster than for adults. Their tumors apparently respond better to chemotherapy. Even so, battling cancer is tough on a child.
What has the hardest part been for you?
Taking chemo and losing my hair and people talking about it.
Yet despite the assault on their appearance, their bodies, their dignity, there is little gloom and doom among the children who must visit the medicine room for treatment. After months of painful chemotherapy, they have an education and a wisdom beyond their years.
A tumor is called PNET, which is primitive neuroextradermal tumor.
11-year-old Adam Stillwell has a rare form of cancer which has spread to his lungs.
It was like the scariest day of my life. When I heard the word cancer, I said, oh no, I'm gonna die. But I found out that it's possible I won't.
Although the odds of winning the battle are better now, they're still not great. Overall, the survival rate for children is only about 50%. And certain cancers, such as brain tumors, remain resistant to treatment. But cancer teaches children how to fight. And children teach helpless parents how to be strong, too.
They still seem like they hang in there. And if they can do it, the parents can do it.
They think their kid's dying. And I remember telling one lady, I said, well, if it helps you any at all, I said, I had the same thing 20 years ago, or almost 20 years ago, and I survived.
Sandra Owen was diagnosed with leukemia when she was 4, when there was only a 5% survival rate. Now she's back as a nurse, as a source of inspiration.
That's what made me come back, want to come back and help the kids learn just a little bit. Even if they're not going to live, help them enjoy the days they have left.
Give it to you. For now, Jennifer is focusing on getting through the next 7 weeks, living for the day she gets her last chemotherapy treatment, the day she says she'll put cancer behind her.
We are going to have the time of our lives. We are going to have so much fun. We're going to buy a whole bunch of silly string and some streamers, and we're going to throw them all over the trailer. That's what we're going to do.
One cautionary note, doctors are still baffled by an alarming increase in the number of children who get cancer. They don't know why it's happening, but they say they are better equipped today to deal with it. Tomorrow, the survivors. The trauma of going through treatment is a life-changing experience. What happens on the other side? We'll report on life after cancer. Dan?
Edie, what about the theory that it's psychological with children? The reason they beat cancer on a percentage basis more often is that it's psychologically that they come back.
The doctors we spoke to say they think that's a minor factor, that there is some truth to the notion that children bounce back and handle this better emotionally than adults do. But they think that the reasons have more to do with the kinds of tumors that you're dealing with. They form in different tissue, in what's called fetal tissue, and that the real secret is there.
Thanks, Edie Magnus, Stalking the Killer. Coming up next, the Palm Beach accuser. Why did she do such a quick about face?
If you're looking to maintain regularity, look here. There's a drug-free way to do it, and Kellogg's All Brand can be an important part, because a high-fiber diet, including Kellogg's All Brand, can give you the fiber you need for drug-free regularity. See the recipe on the box for another way to enjoy Kellogg's All Brand. All Brand muffins. All that fiber, all that great taste.
When you're all stuffed up and use an ordinary nasal spray, it drips into your tissue where it can't help you breathe. But not Sinex Ultrafine Mist. Its medicine stays where you need it, so you can breathe the way you want to. We don't drip down, we clear up.
We bake pearls made of denture material in this blueberry pie to prove how powerfully Efferdent, America's leading denture cleanser, removes this tough stain, even in between. Efferdent, stronger than stains.
This man's incredibly close, comfortable shave comes from the Norelco razor. But to see how he got it, we have to go back to when he began shaving. Not just above the skin, but below it. Here, our patented lift and cut system lifts the hair so when it's cut, it can actually drop below skin level without the blades even touching your face. Try it, and you'll keep going back to Norelco for a perfect shave. Norelco, we make close, comfortable.
You asked for it. All new chances to join the millionaires at American Family. Enough new $1 million prizes to fill the map with American Family Millionaires. A winning entry in your mail can put you on the map real fast in the only big prize sweepstakes with my picture. You can win $10 million just weeks from now. Last chance to enter before I announce the winning number next month. So be sure to look for my picture and enter at once.
The William Kennedy Smith rape trial ended in acquittal, but the controversy just won't quit. Now, as correspondent Bruce Morton reports, the accuser in the case is going public with her name and her face.
And I was on the ground and he was on top of me.
America got to know her as the woman, the alleged victim, as the face with the dot. Now she's Patty Bowman, cover girl. The dot is off on front pages all across America. This is what she looked like on the witness stand.
And he slammed me back in the ground, and I got... And then he pushed my dress up. And he raped me.
During the trial, Bowman talked a lot about how much she wanted her privacy. Now she doesn't want it. Why? Attorney Gloria Allred has represented many rape victims.
The goal of hiding her identity may have been to protect her reputation. Now the goal may be to restore her reputation and to help the public to identify with her.
She may indeed want to tell her story. Defendant William Smith's lawyers told theirs on television, blasting her as an actress, maybe a liar. Today they said they were suspicious of her motives. Will people believe her now after her sudden decision to show her face? Attorney Floyd Abrams is an expert on First Amendment issues.
The problem is she's decided so soon after the jury did not find her persuasive that I think a large part of the public is likely to be rather suspicious of her motives for switching so fast.
I was telling him to stop. I was screaming, no.
If television didn't show her face to millions before, why now? Media critic Edwin Diamond.
This is the kind of transaction that ought to take place, in a therapist's office, not before how many million people on primetime television? It's crazy.
And defendant Smith? He was tried once by a jury and acquitted. Is this a second trial before TV viewers? No, but television may be how people remember Smith and Bowman years from now. Wasn't he the one who wasn't she? This trial and its TV aftermath have wounded both of them. Bruce Morton, CBS News, New York.
And that's part of our world tonight. Dan Rather for the CBS Evening News. Good night.
She's scared.
Coping with life after cancer. Actress Ann Gillian, presidential candidate Paul Tsongas, and other survivors will tell you what it's like for them on the CBS Evening News tomorrow.
Of CBS News. Dan Rather.